I am a nurse at a psychiatric hospital. Over the years, I have encountered all kinds of patients. Just yesterday, an unusual patient arrived at our hospital. Unlike other patients, she has been very quiet since she entered our hospital, always sitting by the window, staring blankly outside. She claims her name is Irene, but her file says another name, Eliza. When I first saw the file, I thought we had made a mistake because Irene and Eliza are identical twins. Irene has always been an obedient and excellent student, graduated from college, got married, had children, and lived a happy life. Eliza, on the other hand, was considered mentally unstable from a young age, often speaking nonsense and causing trouble. A few months ago, Eliza suddenly disappeared. She reappeared at our psychiatric hospital, brought by a child along with a large sum of money, enough to cover many years of her hospital fees. Eliza, why don't you talk to me? I tried to prompt her to speak. She just looked at me with vacant eyes, her lips moved slightly. I am not Eliza. I was stunned. She continued, I am Irene, not Eliza. Someone is following me. My mental state kept deteriorating, and then Eliza found me. When I opened my eyes, I was here. To be fair, even though it sounded like nonsense, in a certain sense, her condition was normal. However, her words were so sincere that I almost wavered. Do you have anything to prove your identity? I asked. Anna, it's time to change shifts. Just as Eliza was about to speak, my colleague Linda walked in, interrupting her. Linda is the head nurse here and the most senior one. You wouldn't really believe a mental patient's words, would you? They always make up all kinds of bizarre stories trying to make the nurses believe them and then run away when you let your guard down. Linda patted my shoulder. Don't worry, just treat it like you're humoring a child. I nodded. Indeed, if she was really Irene, how could her husband and wife not recognize her and send her to a psychiatric hospital? In the following days, I tried to avoid having too much contact with Eliza. Linda was right, she was a mental patient, and I shouldn't so easily believe her words. One day, a woman who looked almost identical to Eliza, but dressed in luxurious clothes appeared in the hospital. Good morning, ladies, her silver bell-like voice echoed in the hospital lobby. Hey, your hairpin is really pretty. She walked to the front desk and lightly tapped on the table. Hello, my name is Irene. Do you have a girl named Eliza here? She looks just like me, we are twins. Yes, we do. How did you find this place? Her smile paused. I received a call from an unknown number saying Eliza is here. Is she really here? After checking her credentials, Linda and I took her to Eliza's room. Upon entering the room, Eliza was sitting by the window, her gaze still empty. She looked up and saw us, especially Irene standing at the door. Her eyes went from confused to sharp, her lips trembled slightly. Eliza, she almost shouted, with a kind of indescribable despair and plea, you finally came. Tell them, I am Irene. I am Irene. Irene stood still, wearing a complex smile. She stepped forward and gently stroked Eliza's face. Her tone was gentle yet slightly cold. Eliza, stop talking nonsense. Your mental state has deteriorated. I know you've always envied me, but isn't trying to replace me too much? Linda stood aside, arms crossed, glanced at me and whispered, see, I told you, didn't I? Eliza, the woman on the bed, struggled, trying to stand up. No. You can't do this. I am Irene, she is Eliza. She has been imitating me. Irene shook her head lightly and sighed. The doctor said, obedience is best for you. I don't want you to suffer more. I looked at the twins, my heart filled with doubt and conflict. Their story was too bizarre, I couldn't tell who was real and who was fake. Do you have any evidence to prove you are Irene? I couldn't help but ask. Eliza's eyes flashed with hope. She said eagerly, in our house's attic, there is a red box with our childhood photos and diaries. I mentioned something in my diary that only the two of us know about. The time we got lost in the forest, she hid on purpose to scare me. Irene interrupted her. Enough, Eliza, stop making up stories. You really are a lunatic. At that moment, urgent footsteps were heard outside the door. The door was pushed open, and a man holding a little girl walked in. The girl, although held in his arms, kept reaching out towards Eliza on the bed, almost falling out of her father's arms. Eliza's eyes filled with despair, but she couldn't move because her limbs were tied up. Tears welled up in her eyes. My child. Standing beside her, Irene, or Eliza, had a very ugly expression, but she quickly adjusted her emotions, trying to show a kind smile. Dear, you finally came back. I missed you both so much. The man's gaze lingered on her for a moment, then returned to the woman on the bed. Eliza, how are you feeling now? I'm not Eliza, I am Irene, George, believe me. The Irene, standing aside, showed a helpless smile and sighed. Dear, you know, my sister has always wanted to replace me. Even with a mental illness, she's still thinking of replacing me. Indeed, George stared at Irene. Eliza has always been a bad child. He walked to the bedside and paused, glancing downstairs. Bad children need to be punished. Bang! The door was suddenly pushed open. Several policemen rushed in and pinned Irene to the ground. No, to be precise, Eliza. George, I am your wife, Irene. Let me go. Really? But my wife is allergic to metal, she would never wear earrings.